Ulonka tabati yada to ye ko madaifa. Ino to ye ko je love vipa. Oba tala, oba takutakun. Songo eshu, ogun oya osun. Kini sheshe, tan she nile yo. O je lo jara.
Alapia, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Larisha Benmi, and today we're going to be chopping it up about the mind's eye, man. It's a whole lot going on in regards to the mind and what's going on in the planet, man. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the tribe. Peace and blessings to everybody. Aboro, Aboye, Abo, Shishay. Appreciate y'all coming through. Shout out to Professor Kaba, man. Professor Kaba came in and burned this thing down last week, so we got a lot going on with that too. And then on top of that, we got a real hot weekend coming in, man. We're coming in real hot this weekend. We're gonna drop tonight's episode, then we're gonna come right back tomorrow. We're looking to lock it in with Wunam. So we'll have her tomorrow night. Then I got a big one lined up for Saturday. We got another one Saturday coming. Brand new guest to the show. Brother has definitely been around and doing his thing in regards to the movement, man. So I'm looking forward to that one. So definitely had a conversation to get ready to secure that one, lock that one there for Saturday. Then I got another one coming up next week. So we got a lot going on, family, a whole lot. A lot of big things popping, and a lot of things going on in the world. So today, I want to chop it up with the tribe, man, flying solo, Top Gun style. We're going to make it do what it do. But we want to chop it up with y'all, man, and talk about this mind's eye, along with a lot of stuff that's going on right now in regards to a lot of these shifts, a lot of these transformations, a lot of these revelations. I see a lot of people chopping it up about the sinners and about the symbolism in the movie Sinners. I saw that I think last weekend. Got to check that out. It definitely was a lot of symbolism for sure. And I don't want to be a spoiler, but at this point, I'm pretty sure most people saw it that wants to see it. And so I definitely like the fact that at the end we won. And shout out to Professor Kaba again, because like he says, it ain't over till we win. So it's good to see the transformation, and us. We're having some sort of insight or some sort of control over the narrative in regards to, especially when we're talking about major Hollywood projects. Because if you look at what's going on now in regards to like what happened to Deion Sanders' son, Shador, with the draft, like that, I'm surprised that we're surprised, because you got to think this is the system. This is what that's created. This is this whole infrastructure that we see crumbling. Like literally right now, we see the whole entire Babylon, falling. Like it's crumbling right before our very eyes. So we can't think that everything is going to be sweet and they're not going to try to do, whatever they can in regards to trying to show some sort of superiority or some sort of, you need to sit down and chill and stay in your place, or whatever the case may be. I'm not quite sure what the motive of the agenda was for that. I mean, I think we all know, but at the end of the day, we can't be surprised by any of these tactics, because that's what it is. But what I will say is that when we look at the grand scheme of things, there's a whole lot more to look at, especially in regards to the global front. I'm not sure how many of y'all seen the reports with I believe it was Putin and the Chinese and Japanese leaders were supporting, brother Ibrahim, out of Burkina Faso. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's saying something right there, because the fact that you seeing these major powerhouses in regards to this whole entire global, I guess forefront, what's going on in terms of the global grand scheme of things, that's saying something, and then. Me and Professor Kaba got into it a little bit last week with the thing about the Pope, but I want to kind of dig in a little bit deeper with that, because this is something that I've shared on this channel several times in regards to the Pope. You know what I mean? So the Pope, right now, I'm guaranteeing we're going to see the next Pope is going to be a black man. Like that. That's something that's been in the works for a long time coming, but that goes to what's going on a much larger scale. And so I know I've mentioned that several times on the podcast before about there being a black pope. So a lot of people don't know that the pope that we just saw that they said transition last week on Ishtar, that's not the real pope. That's the pope for the forefront. That's the pope that comes out and does all the front street stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's like the front street guy. He's not the plug. You know what I mean? He's not the real pope. So what happens is there's a black pope who actually controlled that pope. That, that we saw that just transitioned. So now, with all the things that's going on, there's a whole lot to do, and that has a whole lot to do with what we're seeing, not just from the planetary level, but also from the cosmic level, because we're going through a major shift. Our solar cycles are shifting. You know what I mean? So this is not just a regular transformation that we see that's just happening. Like, this is happening across the solar system. So we're talking about like the precessional equinox. We're talking about 6,000 year cycles. So we went from the Piscean age into the Aquarian age. And with that, if y'all want to look up the Outkast album cover, Outkast been telling us about this. They've been talking about what's going on. They've been talking about extraterrestrial. They've been talking about, all the different things that's in alignment of what's happening right now. I don't know how many people realize how serious they was, but they were serious, and they wasn't playing. If you look at the equipment I cover, they're telling us, and well, they was kind of futuristic with it, but they're telling us back in '98 about what's taking place right now. And so with that being said, us going from the Piscean age into the Aquarius age, the Aquarian age, that's the shift from the patriarchal construct of what we've been dealing with. When you see the death of the dude that died over there in the Vatican, when you saw the death of the lady over there in Buckingham, and then you see the collapse of, what's happening here in Antarctica. Like, it's all in synchronicity. It's all in cycles. And then I've been hearing a lot of people talking about Trump, him talking about being the last president. But that's facts. He is the last president. I'm not sure how many people know, but he is, because Trump, he's a much different animal. He's a different beast than what most people think he is. You know what I'm saying? He's got a lot going on. And if you look up, if there's anybody out there now in the tribe that got a second, if you could look up the book called The Last President, I think that book was written, the original copy was written in 1908, if I'm not mistaken. So we're talking about well over 100 years ago, this book was written, right? But if you look at the book now, The Last President, you'll see that they have a spinoff of the exact office or exact people who are in office right now. You'll see that they have a man named Trump. You'll see that there's a vice president named Pence. You'll also see that there's a son named Barron. Like, that's not a coincidence that we see a book that was written over 100 and something years ago that's coming to the forefront about what's taking place right now in 2025. Like, that's not a coincidence at all. Like, that's real deal Holyfield. So it's like, I see y'all try. I'm trying to do my best with these comments to bring them to the floor and also to respond to them. But yeah, so that's not a coincidence, family. It's not a coincidence at all. And then also, when you look at back to the cycles, right? These 6,000 year cycles. Now we're going from the patriarchal phase into a matriarchal age, and that goes back to the number 9. You know what I'm saying? We've been talking about that number 9 for a minute. 9 is a very, very powerful number. It's a divine number. It's connected to Yeh or Yah. You know what I mean? For transformation, death to the old, birth to the new. So we're seeing that on a planetary level. We're seeing, the death to the old, and we're seeing the birth to the new. We're seeing the matriarchal energy, in alignment, coming back to what it's supposed to be. And that's because we're going now into another 6,000 year sun cycle. You know what I mean? So we just had that equinox. We had the one that passed in June of last year, was a very powerful one. That was a very symbolic equinox that we had. Then we just had the last one, I think, was in December of this past year. So it's like now we're seeing that's like a solar birthday, if you will. That's like a cosmic birthday. You know what I mean? Because the solar cycle is going on a much larger scale in regards to the numbers of thousands of years that's involved versus, what we are going by according to this Gregorian calendar. So it's a lot of big shifts going on, family. And so with that, we're going to see, we're going to feel, we're going to experience a lot of differences that's going on. I know it's a lot already going on. There's going to be a whole lot more going on, because now we're about to see a whole lot more of the extraterrestrials. We're going to see a whole lot more of the crafts. We're going to see a whole lot more. It's a lot, you know what I'm saying? We're going to see a lot more of these earthquakes. We're going to see a lot. We're going to see Mother Nature pretty much going through her cycle. You know what I mean? Just like, the microcosm, the woman, the feminine female that goes through her cycle. That's what our planet and our solar system are going through simultaneously. So we're seeing some major disruption in a major, major way. And it's going to continue to happen, until we eradicate and get these roaches up out of here, man. We got to get all these parasites and the pestilence, you know what I mean, that's been causing havoc and running them up across the globe with all that foolishness. But it's definitely a whole lot going on. You said something with that, Shy. You said something with that, man. I don't want to go all the way into that, but I am going to. But that's one of them ones that I want to have receipts, because with what Shy Goddess is talking about, the Wizard of Oz, it's like she's talking about, if you've seen the documentary 1804, right? She's talking about the collaborators. So I don't even have to go into depth with that, because if you've seen that, you know what I mean. And if you didn't see 1804, you know, the collaborators were the Uncle Toms. They were the House Negroes. They was, you know what I'm saying, the ones who was looking to snitch and get the, you know what I mean, the rebels and the revolutionaries, you know, knocked off or to cancel their plans. So it's like, those are the ones who, you know, you got to get rid of in regards to being detrimental to, you know, the movement, being detrimental to the elevation of the melanated people of the planet. And so it's just no way that they're going to be able to do it or stop it no longer, because their time is up. You know what I mean? And so when you talk about the Wizard of Oz, like I said, it goes back to that Vatican conversation. Like the real Pope was a black man all along. Like it was a black family. You know what I'm saying? It's a group of black people who really had European people, you know what I'm saying, as the puppets playing, you know what I'm saying, like the major roles on the stage of this Holocaust that, you know, as the Ma'afa, you know what I mean? Or you call this the transatlantic slave trade, the the let's see, the you know what I mean, the degeneration of melanated people, you know what I'm saying, like pretty much trying to keep us in that under their neck type of, I mean, under their foot type of mindset and experience here on the planet. But Mother Earth says she ain't having it. You know what I'm saying? Not just Mother Earth, but you know, the entire solar system is not having it. And so now we're going to start to really get deep into like the significance of the pyramids. You know what I mean? Because this is stuff that I've always talked about in conversation, you know, during the podcast, because I like to highlight the guests, you know, and get them to share their ashe and their wisdom and their knowledge and understanding, overstanding, understanding, understanding. But for me, like that's where, you know, I live at. Like the metaphysics space is where I grew up at. You know what I'm saying? Like before I knew anything about Ifa or Isheshe, I was already, you know, studying the pyramid builders. I was already studying, you know, ancient Sumeria, the Anunnaki. You know what I'm saying? Like all that is where I grew up. So it's like that's where I see the significance in what we're seeing now from a cosmic level to a planetary level as well. So it's definitely a whole lot, like I said, to tap into with family. One of the biggest things I think I've been sharing with people, you know, personally, the people that I talk to or I work with, is like the significance of meditation, like meditating and really just kind of unplugging from all of these devices, from all of the technology, from, you know, all the things that we're inundated with on a daily basis. Like it's good to unplug from that and like really give our mind, body, and our spirit a chance to kind of unplug from all the bombardments, you know what I'm saying, of all this technology and all these waves, man. Because I was walking through the neighborhood, I think like 2 weeks ago, and I don't know if it was part of their alarm system or what it was, but somebody had, like, I could tell they had some type of sensor, but when the sensor went off, it triggered something that literally created like some sort of sound waves that it made your ear hurt, like it made your head hurt, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it literally was like, it was like some I would say it's like audio warfare, you know what I mean? Because they were using sound wave frequency to pretty much inflict some sort of physical, I would say, harm or attack on us, you know what I mean, just by walking by. Because I'm not sure what kind of system this was, but whoever it was, they knew something about frequencies. They knew something about technology to where they could manipulate the sound waves to where they could use it and weaponize it. And that's something that's been happening for a long time too. Especially when we talk about like what the movies that we're watching, the music that we're listening to, the television shows that we're watching, like all that stuff has been manipulated in order to pretty much keep our energy, our ashe, and our spirit bodies kind of condemned, you know what I'm saying, and not having the opportunity to kind of elevate and operate at its highest frequency. And so now when we're talking about that, we can start to talk about thinking about the movie Lucy, right? So yeah, for y'all who've seen that movie Lucy, Lucy had the opportunity to access 100% of her brain power. So when you have the ability to access 100% of your brain power, that's when you start talking about this God stuff. Like when you really start to really activate and tap into the God force, Ashe, the God energy. You know what I mean? Because that's when, if y'all seen that movie Supercell or that series Supercell on Netflix with the brothers over there in England who had the ability to kind of tap into that superpower, well, that's where we are now. Like that's a real thing. Yeah, he's definitely doing it. I don't know if he's definitely the one that wants to do it or he's doing it because he ain't got no choice but to do it. Because, like I said, it's definitely some much bigger, higher power energy, you know what I mean, involved with what's going on right now. So yeah, that's real. The mother is definitely back. The mothers are back, and yeah, it's going down, man. Especially like even like the story with Medusa, right? I don't know how many people are familiar with that, but in that whole story they're talking about with Medusa, Medusa is actually symbolic of Maat. You know what I mean? Like she's symbolic of Ma'at. If you look at Ma'at and you look at, I'm sorry, not Ma'at, Offset. If you look at Offset and you look at the hieroglyphs and you look at her crown, right, you'll see the top of her crown depending on the hieroglyph, and then you'll see the 7 cobras that go around it. You know, those 7 cobras actually represent the 7 major continents on the planet. And if you think about it, when we talk about the pyramids, there's not any monument or structure on the planet that's more known, that's more respected, that's more revered, and that's more impressive. You know what I mean? So that right there is a symbolism of the strength and the power of the universal prior creator, because we're talking about cosmic beings. We're not talking about regular human beings. We're talking about cosmic beings that have their story written in stone, that's been there for all the world to see for, some will say 5,000 years, some will say 6,000 years. Some people will say 10,000 years. Some people say they've been around about 15, almost 20,000 years or more. It all depends on how deep and how far your research goes. But I know one thing, they've definitely been around for thousands upon thousands of years. And there's a whole lot more where that came from. You know what I'm saying? Like there's pyramids all across the globe, right? And so what we're going to see, the last male president, Jasmine Crockett, and I'm not sure about that, Shakita. That one I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't think Trump's gonna ever, like. I don't believe there's gonna be another president again, because not just the situation with Trump, but the planet itself. Like America herself, like this whole experience that we're used to, it's not gonna be the same by the time 2028 comes. I can tell you that right now. It's not. But I'm not saying that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure about that. But I just based off of my personal research and what I've seen come to light, things that I've studied years before, you know, even now that's kind of been unfolding, but now it's really unfolding. It's like it's all set up to do exactly what it was created to do from day one. You know what I'm saying? And then when we think about it like this, right? I like to use phonetics. So you have to consider and then, you know, kind of calculate into whatever we're looking at in the assessments of what's happening right now with the planet. We have to consider the influence of extraterrestrial life and extraterrestrial life forms, you know what I'm saying, and extraterrestrial intelligence. Because if you think about this, I shared this on a business coaching class, on a marketing class, like last year. But if you think about the technology boom, right? Like the world did not have access to nowhere near the technology that we have now prior to 1947, right? And that's not a coincidence, because 1947, as most of y'all would know, that's the year of the Roswell crash, right? So when you talk about that Roswell crash, now you're talking about the inception of what we're looking at now with this technology. Like they found what they found in those wreckages of those crafts, and then they took them and reverse engineered them. And by doing that, that's how they were able to start getting access to all the technology that we have now. And that's where, you know, and that's exactly what we're doing, man. We're turning the lights on. The lights on. You see them stars, man. Hey, them stars up there for a reason. We're talking about Orion's belt. And so I got something real nice and shining, you know, lined up for y'all coming soon with these presentations, man. Because I've been, like I said, I've been studying this stuff since I was 14. So it's like I got a whole treasure chest of nothing but receipts, research, you know what I'm saying, data, content, information. That's really going to break everything down. It's going to also be in divine alignment, because you can see how the symbolism of the numerology, the symbolism of all the things that are taking place is all connected. Like nothing is like not, I would say, attached to, or like it's not connected to the next thing. You know what I mean? So let's just look at the 3 major, let's just call them the 3-headed monster, right? If you look at the 3-headed monster, and we're talking about, let's just start over there in Italy, in the Vatican, right? When you look at that, you're looking at the Vatican and you're looking at the Pope. Okay, well, that one head of this, you know, devil monster, 3-headed monster, is the control of the spiritual, you know what I'm saying, the spiritual aspects of the planet. Like, so the church, the Catholic Church, was in control and had, you know, control and manipulation over every single aspect of everything that had to do with spirituality and the consciousness or the connection to God. That's for those who fall under, you know what I'm saying, that sleep scale, like that sleep spell that they kind of cast, you know what I mean? So that goes back to the Canaanites and the 6,000 year spell. And that's a whole nother, you know, situation, a whole nother conversation. But I say all that to say that that was one head of this devil monster, right? So the next one, they control all the religion, all of the spiritual aspects in regards to the planet. So that's one phase, right? That's gone now. So then you got the other one, was the people over there in England. You know what I'm saying? That lizard lady, you know what I mean? She also was another, figurehead of the financials. You know what I'm saying? They were the ones who stole all of the jewelry, all of, you know what I'm saying, all the major valuable jewels that we own, the crown jewel that you know what I'm saying, they was rocking and all that. They stole all that from us. So they was more about the financial. They was like the money. They was, you know what I'm saying, they controlled the banking system. You talk about with them, you talk about the Rothschilds and, you know what I'm saying, all them. So it's like all those, they call them, that bloodline over there, all of them had to do with the whole financial banking system. That's gone. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap out there. Now we see your boy DT, and him and his clown show doing what they're doing up there in Washington. And we see that crumbling down. You see them beefing with each other, the deep state, the Republicans, the Democrats. You know what I'm saying? They're all beefing. It's a civil war inside of, you know what I'm saying, like the devil's playground. So it's like they got their own little tizzy and beef going on. So it's like they literally warn against each other and then trying to go against everybody else in the world and war against them. That's not going to happen. Because first and foremost, you ain't even going to take out one of those forces that's opposing you. You're not going to take China. You're not going to take Russia. You ain't going to take none of them. So it's like, what are we really talking about here? And then, you know what I'm saying? So if you look at that whole portion of the three-headed monster is falling too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now we're looking at all these different things taking place simultaneously. And then you see, like I said, in the arts, you start to see the super selves of the world. You start to see where now we're having people bringing the vision to the forefront of what we really should have been doing and where we should have been from the get-go. Like all those things that we see, whether it's X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, Transform, all those things are all tied into our stories. And like Professor Cabo was saying last week, it's all connected to the Asarian drama, because every single hero story that's been on this planet was going back to Asar, Aset, and Heru. That goes back to, you know what I'm saying, the Holy Trinity from ancient Kemet. And so now when we talk about that, and then we start to bring in the aspects of Maut, with justice, equality, you know what I'm saying, like all the things, reciprocity, all the things that are all attributed to the 42 laws of Maut. It's all about balance. It's all about balance. So now you have Maut aspect of, you know what I'm saying, Mother Nature, from the planetary aspect, also from the cosmic aspect, all coming together in alignment. Then we also look at, if you look at the Yoruba tradition, I'm talking about Imoja, Olokun, Oshun. I mean, it's like Yay or Ya, like the hurricanes, the storm, like all that stuff is all tied into what's happening. And I know for some of us that be watching, that's kind of like seeing what's going on in the world. Yep, there you go, Chiquita. Yep, that's exactly what they was doing. Yeah, I gotta find that video, but that's what I was talking about, and that's why everything I'm telling you, you'll see in due time, it's all going to fall in alignment, because from all along, it was Black people who was controlling this whole system. You know what I'm saying? This whole infrastructure that we're dealing with, that we're seeing collapse and crumble, it was other Black people the whole time. Like you talk about the Wizard of Oz, it was other Black people. And then that's when this is a whole nother conversation too. And that's one that's going to have to be presentation style, because that's when we talk about the Anunnaki. Because when you have these types of beings, now you're talking about the extraterrestrial beings, you're talking about, beings from other star systems, you're talking about a lot of things that kind of play along with this, because then you got to go into the Draconian race. Then you got to go into Maldek, the Maldekians. So it's a whole lot of different aspects to that conversation that when I have it, I want to have it to the point where I can show you, because it's definitely better to show people better than tell them. So yeah, for that, I'm definitely working on putting some of that together for you, family. Peace and blessings, Brother Jones, man. You're definitely right. The power is in the frequencies. And even with the pyramids, you know what I'm saying? Like you notice that they're finding a lot of new things, in the pyramid. I saw that they had opened or found like a new vault. I can't remember how long ago it was. I'll say within like the last 6 to 8 months, definitely less than a year, where they found that new vault in the Great Pyramid of Khufu. Right. And then now you see that, I don't know how many of y'all saw where they just found like the pyramids go, whoo, it's something crazy, like maybe a couple, like 200 stories, like beneath the earth or something like that, underneath the pyramids. It's a crazy number. But yeah, great question. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that too, bro. But yeah, with the pyramids, man, it's a crazy number of stories that they just discovered how much space and like other structures were underneath or are underneath the Great Pyramids. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, man, because we ain't even talking about the inner earth yet. So now when we talk about what they just discovered from, underneath the pyramids, you're talking about structures that go, I think, like 100, 200 stories down, something. It might even be more than that, but it's a crazy number of stories about how much space and how many different buildings and structures are underneath the pyramids. But what's deep about that is that with that, we can start that conversation now with the inner earth, right? So for any of y'all out there who study Dr. York's work or who studies Dr. Blair's work, you know about the inner earth. You know about Shambhala, you know about, I think it was Antarctica, something like that. So it's several different, stories about the inner earth, which is real as well. And then now when you talk about the inner earth, we got to start to talk about Atlantis. You know what I mean? Like Atlantis is on the way. It never really left, but we're gonna definitely be seeing some of the things that kind of is representative of Atlantis, and then Lemuria as well. So when you're talking about Lemuria, you're talking about the lost islands of Maut. You know what I'm saying? So all these things are attributed to a lot of different connections in regards to like what's happening and what's taking place, on the planet. And so let me see. Chiquita, they're not gonna have much of a choice. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the relics inside the Vatican. Yeah, they ain't got much of a choice. Yeah, those are going home. Yeah, the whole planet's going home. So yeah, they definitely they're going back to their rightful owners. If I'm not mistaken, I've also seen some reports on some of the I don't know if it was like the Ghanaian government or royalty, or I can't remember which countries from Africa, but there's been a couple of countries that I've seen I think already are starting to get their jewels and their artifacts and relics back already. So there's definitely a lot going on. And Fred, yeah, you're right, Fraser, about those connected to the banking system. So it's a whole lot going on, family. So I just want everybody to stay, stay tapped in. Keep working on the mental, physical, spiritual. You know what I mean, financial. Which I don't even know if the finances is going to matter too much more in the near future, because we're looking like at a complete reset, a complete tear down, a complete, it's a wrap. It's time to start the next level. It's time to start the next frequency. Like we are literally in the transition phase. It's almost like we're on the elevator. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Outcast. It's like we're on the elevator going from the third dimension into the fifth dimension. And this is something Dr. Blair has been teaching us since the 90s. He's been talking about the different dimensions and how we're ascending, how the planet is going from like kindergarten to college. You know what I mean? Like that's the planet herself is making that elevation. And not just is the planet, but also the solar system. You know what I'm saying? Our whole entire solar system is making a whole cosmic shift. And the poles on the planet are also shifting. I'm not sure if y'all seen about them discovering all these pyramids in Antarctica and, all these different things that are unfolding. None of this is a coincidence, because you can deny the lie, but you can't hide the truth. Do some research on flying over the North and South Pole and see what you're going to find. Or better yet, anybody in the chat, try to see if you can pull up any live imagery on Google Earth over the North or South Pole and see what happens. I don't know if there's anything available or not, but there's a reason why they got that as a no-fly zone. There's a reason why they don't have the satellites facing that for us to have access to, with like Google Earth and some of these apps that we track stars with and we track planets with, because they want to control the narrative of the information. Because if you really know what's going on all levels, you'll know that this is the Wizard of Oz. I think it was Shah Goddess who said that that's facts. Like this really is a bunch of people posing themselves to be something that they're really not. And they're kind of pretty much taking advantage of or possessing other entities or energies to do so. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, a lot of these entities that are behind a lot of this foolishness, they're nothing but parasites. You know what I'm saying? They're straight up parasites. And that even goes into like the Sinners movie, where they had a lot of symbolism with that, with the vampires and them sucking and feeding off of others in order to survive, and then having to ask to come in. You know what I mean? Like all that is all tied to that devil stuff or evil, you know what I mean? Like that society of the Draconian Empire, you know what I mean, the Reptilian Empire. So it's like all this stuff is deep, family. Like it's real deep. So it's like this is some of the content that I wanted to kind of share with y'all to kind of prepare you for what we're going to be doing with Ashe. Because trust and believe, we're going to always, represent with Ifa, Isheshe, and what, the whole entire African spirituality. But the experience is a lot bigger than just Ifa. And Ifa is a major component, because Ifa is in everything. The deeper you know Ifa, the more you know that Ifa is in everything. You know what I mean? From the way we eat to the way we breathe, like everything is, in Ifa. But at the same time, that's the same, elevated consciousness of like the Kemetic sciences, you know what I mean? Of the pyramid builders, of the Sumerians, of the Anunnaki, of the Atlanteans, of the Lemurians. Like all this is the higher level, highest cosmic, intelligence that we're dealing with. And I can't wait to share the the content that I have with y'all with the extraterrestrials and the ships and the crafts that's here. Me personally, I think I got two. I got two that I have live footage with that I actually caught myself personally, but then I got pictures of maybe about 4 or 5, I think, different craft sightings that I personally saw that I have pictures of. I didn't get the video footage, but I have the photos. But I'll be sharing that along with a lot of other, dope researchers and scholars who've been, studying and researching and sharing this type of content and information for a long time. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing that. Yeah. I like that, Shot Goddess. Peace and blessings, Queen. Appreciate you joining us. We ain't seen you in a minute, man. We definitely appreciate you stopping through for sure. Shot Goddess, yeah, and I forgot. I'm glad you said that because you pulled me back to where I was going earlier about the phonetics too. When we talk about the extraterrestrial influence, right? So when we talk about the extraterrestrial influence, I want to share something with y'all that's been sitting right in front of our face or right under our nose. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us probably didn't even ever catch it, but just like to really show you how real this is and like how dope it is when we're operating on the right frequency and all that. Is if we think about this, right? I'm about to put it in the chat real quick. If you look at the way that we have what we live on, right? We live on the planet Earth, right? So we live on the planet Earth, and then let me see, and that's like a later name too, because for those of y'all that have been doing the deep studying and research, it's been called QI. It's been called what is it? QI. Gaia, allegedly. There's a few others that I can't think of right now that it was called. But anyway, when we break that word down phonetically, right, then we look at it like this. It kind of starts to get us to think about something, right? And this is like how you gotta look at when you talk about the word spells, like how we spell words, that's casting spells, right? So now check this out. When you look at the word planet, Tiamat. There you go. I appreciate you, T. That was the one I was thinking about too, Tiamat. So it's QI, Tiamat, and then Earth, and then some people say it's called Gaia. But if you look at the word planet, right, and then you break it down phonetically, you see plan, and then if you put that you could put a dash. I thought I put it up there, but it didn't come. Okay, I put a dash in there, right? And then we mess around, and then we do a little flip the script. You take the ET from the second half of the word and drop that joint, in the front. Now you're looking at extraterrestrials. Extraterrestrials plan, planet. They plan this. They plan this planet. They run this planet. They always have and always will. So it's like, that's why, we got to really be conscientious of like the things that we're seeing, because the mind's eye is a whole nother level of seeing. It's a whole nother level of vision. It's a whole nother level of tapping into things. And that goes back to the conversation with Professor Kaba last week when I was talking about the movie Bloodsport. Like I saw that was a lot of people show love, talking about that in the comments, because I think it was something that a lot of people, especially the 80s babies, those of us who are 80s babies and probably above, like, we remember those movies. So when you're talking about that movie, that was a big movie, but that part of the movie was dope to me because I've actually experienced that in real life, where I saw a person who was, visually impaired be able to literally like call me for my height, like pretty much the size I am, that I played ball. Like, it was crazy. Shout out to Mr. Adebayo, over there in Oshopo, the blind genius, man. I met him last year when I went to Nigeria for, Ifa. And I remember, I'll never forget, we had already spoke multiple times on the phone, and I never met him though. So when I met him, I went in his crib and like I shook hands with him. And when I shook hands with him, he was like, "Oh, Richard, baby, how tall are you?" And I was like, man, he was like, "Are you about 6'2"? I was like, look, like, man, this dude know how tall I am. So then he was like, "Do you wear a size 12, 13 shoe?" And I looked at everybody in the room. I'm stunned. Like, my mouth just dropped. I'm like, what? But yeah, man, like, bro, really, like, he called out my height, my shoe size. He was like, "You play basketball?" Like, yeah, man, I love playing ball. So it was just crazy to see how, someone that quote unquote is blind actually was able to like literally give a description of me to a T. So like that within itself, like, to me, it shows that we definitely have a lot of access to a lot of different energies and, frequencies, and a lot of different, ashe that we can tap into and that we could really, do some things with. So with that, let me see if I can scroll through these comments and see if we got any questions real quick. And Coach, it's a lot under there. I can't remember what I was watching, I saw something that somebody was saying that it was like some power generators or like some Tesla coils or something like that. I'm not sure like what they're saying is under there, but I did see where some people were saying that it was some sort of generators or something like that, but I can't really confirm that based off of my own, personal knowledge, because I can't say that they do or don't, but I definitely have some information that I could look through in some of my research, some of my books and notes and all that to kind of get a better idea on that one. But there is a lot under there, and especially, like I said, going to the different entrances to the inner earth, right? So there's a lot of different portals around the planet that are either stargates, or you have some portals that like go into the inner earth, right? So one of the portals that most people, I'm pretty sure, know, that does a lot of research on metaphysics, is that the pyramids definitely have entrances to the inner earth, right? So not just the pyramids. Trying to think where else. There's a couple different spots. Some people say the Bermuda Triangle is like another portal to the inner earth, but that's up for debate and discussion. But dang, what was the other one I was about to say that has access to the inner earth? I believe Mount Shasta is another portal. Mount Shasta is like a spaceport. It's kind of like an airport for like extraterrestrial crafts and stuff too, because that is I believe Mount Shasta also has like a portal into the inner earth as well. So like that they actually doing like they doing double high frequencies there, because they definitely have a lot of crafts that come from out of our solar system that come over into the planet through Mount Shasta, as well as beings and crafts that come out of inner earth shoot out through Mount Shasta as well. But I mean, they come in and out of the ocean like it's nothing. Like that happens all the time with the crabs that are ambidextrous, where they kind of go, they can fly, you know what I mean, all over the air, but also they can go into the ocean. And then you got some that just they can just flip the script, boom, and be in a whole nother dimension. Like they know how to literally fold and collapse time to a point. There's no such thing as time. And so for like those who studied the Freedom Master teacher, Dr. York, man, like, we talk about him, he comes from a star system that's like the 19th galaxy, I believe, Ilion, and it's from the planet Orion, right? And so the Rizikians from the planet Risk, like they don't know time. Like there's no such thing as time, because they're so far advanced. They're like 100,000, I think, light years more advanced than we are, something crazy. And it's like they don't have to worry about anything that has to do with time. Oh, London, you said London got one too? Yeah, they're all over the planet, man. And then also with these these portals too. I mean, not portals, but well, yeah, portals. I can say portals. Yeah, there's a lot of different portals too, man. So if y'all look at the St. Louis Arch, like that's a Stargate. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a Stargate there in St. Louis. That arch is a Stargate. That's an extraterrestrial structure. That's not no. I don't know how they tried to play that off as if that was something that was made by the people of the United States or the people of St. Louis, but that St. Louis arc is a Stargate. You know what I'm saying? That's where a lot of extraterrestrial activity goes on there as well. That whole Central America it's a heavy hotbed for extraterrestrial activity. The lakes, the Great Lakes in Michigan, Chicago, where Dr. Blair was at. Shout out to the Meta Center. Chicago has a lot of activity going on over there. Detroit got a whole lot of activity going on. So it's everywhere, man. Like all across the globe, like you can't deny the presence of superior beings and superior entities and superior intelligence. And like now's the time where we're seeing it all come to fruition, man. We're seeing it all come out on Front Street. Let me see. Yeah, there are. Yeah, there's pyramids in China too, in Kosi, and not just underwater either. I believe there's pyramids on land, on the surface in China too. They're everywhere. Like they're all over the planet, literally. But the Americas actually have way more than people know of or think about. Like for real. Like I'm talking about even not just South America, but right here where we are, there's a ton of different mounds, like the Cahokia mounds in Illinois. You got the what else is it? There's a few. I forgot the name of the snake mound. Somebody in the chat, if you're familiar with that, the mounds that's like a snake. It's a real long, huge, long set of mounds. It's like a snake. I forgot what that one's called and which state it's at or in. But yeah, and then even when you look at the Grand Canyon, you know what I'm saying? Like the Grand Canyon, that definitely has that's really America is comedic too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we really got to go deep into the history of what all is going on, especially when you talk about the ancient times of antiquity. You know what I mean? Because when we go into that, it's a whole nother ball game in regards to what we're seeing here. You know what I'm saying? Like America definitely has, you know, comedic culture right here in the Grand Canyon. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a report, I'm sure some of y'all seen it. If you watch like Ancient Aliens or some of these new documentaries where they're talking about extraterrestrial life forms and all that, you'll see on a couple of those different episodes of Ancient Aliens and I think a couple of different documentaries where they'll talk about this dude. I think he was like some sort of, I don't know if he was like a park ranger or some sort of like custodian for the Grand Canyon, where he kind of like was like float down the Grand Canyon on a little river on a boat, and I guess like just keeping an eye on whatever his job was. But anywho, he had found an entrance way into the Grand Canyon, and when he went into there, he found all kind of ancient Kemetic artifacts, ancient Kemetic statues. He found, I think, statues of like Buddha. He saw all kind of ancient, you know, I mean, powerful monumental, you know, artifacts right there in the Grand Canyon. And then after that happened, you know, the boys came to see him, and the Alphabet Boys, and then almost like the Men in Black type thing, they came to see him, and they said that they was going to give his work or give his find or his you know, that cave or whatever entrance to like the Library of Smithsonian or something like that. But then dude ended up getting unalived. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody never heard from him again because they wanted to get that access to that into that cave in order to be able to take over what he found. And yeah, I see y'all going ham in the chat. I can't even keep up, man. I'm gonna have to get some help with running the chat when I do the solo so I can keep up with them chats because y'all going in. But yeah, the Lucy, yeah, let's see, they'll even say we came from Lucy and show us the bones. Yeah, well, you know what, T, like that, I don't know what the real name was, Lucy, but I want to say it was like Ardipithecus or something like that. There's a couple different names for the oldest human remains ever found, but man, there's remains that's on this planet that's so old that it's not even funny. Like those are just the ones that they telling people about. But there's so much more out there right now. Man, we ain't even talking about the giants yet. Like the giants, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot, family. Like it really is a lot going on. But you know, the thing about it is, at the end of the day, you know, we got to stay focused and stay tapped in and like really pay attention to our energy and like being able to tap in, right? So one of the things that I'm working on with the tribe, with the private community is, and you just hit it, Sha, because yeah, one of the things that I'm looking to do in our community is like to tap into like those extra senses, you know, because that goes right back to what I was talking about earlier with supercell, right? That's a real thing. And I love how the brother did a play on words. It really was, he took kind of like we did planet, when, you know, planet and then PLAN dash ET, and then you flip the script and you put ET in front of plan extraterrestrials, you know what I'm saying? Plan it, you know what I'm saying? Like he took sickle cell, the you know, the disease sickle cell, and then he did a play on words with that to create supercell. So therefore, he's showing us as melanated beings, us as melanated people, especially those who are heavily, you know, blessed with neuromelanin, right? He's showing us that these superpowers are for people with melanin, which are superconductors. When we're talking about the cosmic order, you know what I'm saying, of energy and you know, consciousness in our experience, right? And then he showed like how we are able to tap into those extra levels of superpowers, right? Which we really are able to. So that goes back to something like, you know, working with back to the meditation thing. You know, when we do those meditations, man, like it really gives us an opportunity to plug into the universe and then access those elevated cosmic, my bad, y'all, my camera done did something crazy on me. Okay, my bad, y'all. This I think I forgot to change one of the settings on the camera. That thing started showing my whole doggone started showing my whole shrine room and everything, man. Everything was out on Front Street. But anyway, but yeah, with that, what was I think I was talking about, was it Supercell? Can't remember. I think it was Supercell. But yeah, it goes back to us tapping in, man, to meditation and like accessing that, that higher level of consciousness. Because once we do that, like we really are like astral traveling, astral projecting, coming back with downloads, you know what I'm saying? And then also these dreams, like the dreams are going ham too. They're going crazy because there's so many different like solar flares, you know what I'm saying? That's shooting like ether and those neutrinos. We were talking about those neutrinos last week too, with the Professor Kaba interview. And neutrinos, like it's just dope how nature itself is so powerful. You know, so I was thinking about that after that conversation, after the Professor Kaba podcast. I was thinking about like how powerful neutrinos are, right? Neutrino, the element of neutrinos, right? They have the ability to travel through anything. They can go through space. They can go through, you know what I'm saying? I believe like water, through physical object. They can come through us, you know what I'm saying? Go through walls. And this is all a element, a living life form element that has the ability to go through damn near anything. Like, and it's nuts because I thought about it, I'm like, dang, if you think about a particle, an element like a neutrino, and it has the ability to like go through walls and go through structures and go through water and go through bodies and all this, right? Think about that. I was like, yo, so if a neutrino can do all that, then what can an ancestor do? You know what I'm saying? What can an Orisha do? What can a Netra do? Like, what can a Loa do? You know what I'm saying? Because we talking about a little itty bitty tiny particle that the way it's made up is so highly advanced that it can travel through damn near anything. So I'm like, if that little particle can do that, I can't even imagine like how powerful the significance of what, you know what I mean, our ancestors could do, like, or what, the Orishas could do. You know what I'm saying? So it's real deep, man, real deep in regards to like what we what we're experiencing right now. So let me see if I can get something out of the chat, see what's cracking in here. Yeah, that's facts, and Kosi. That's big facts. Like literally, the internet. That yeah. I mean, like melanin, it's a superpower. Like it's a real superpower for real. It's a real cheat code. Yeah. Yeah, that's real. And then like even like our body though, like our body, like our eyes, you know what I'm saying, won't be able to see without melanin. Our ears, we won't be able to hear without melanin. Like, and then if you think about it, right, and you look at it this way, think about how many of the different, missing people that are coming up. You know what I'm saying? That's not a coincidence that, all these black people, especially these black women, are coming up missing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not a coincidence that, that's happening. And what's happening is those who are not of this planet, and they're not of the human race, the race of human. You know what I'm saying? Like they're of mankind. So I'm not sure how many people, really think about or take the time to think about the difference between a human and mankind. You know what I'm saying? But a human is people like us who are born from, our cosmic, ancestral mothers. You know what I mean? So we came out of a womb, from a human being with melanin, right? So now when you talk about mankind, that's a kind of man. So now when you talk about that kind of man, I don't know if y'all remember that wrestler Mankind from WWF back in the day, how he used to come out like he came from somewhere like the island of Dr. Moreau. Mankind. So for all my wrestling 80s babies out there, man, who used to watch wrestling back in the day, like Mankind was like, he was what I'm talking about. Like that whole character of who and what Mankind was, that's what I'm talking about with Mankind. So like that movie, the Island of Dr. Moreau, that's a real thing. So then you talk about the dang, what do you call those people? I cannot think of the name of them, but they got like some, I don't know if it's like dog or gorilla or ape, some Neanderthals. You talk about the Neanderthals, right? You look at them, and then you also got to look into how many different types of beings have been created by genetic manipulation, right? So there's a lot of different hybrid beings on the planet as well. Like you got people that's been crossbred with reptilians, you got people that's been crossbred with giants, you got people that's been crossbred with Anunnaki, you got people that's been crossbred with dogs, with apes, gorillas, you name it, man. So it's a lot going on for real, like a whole lot. And a lot of stuff that they put right in front of our nose, you know, on TV and entertainment, all that stuff, it's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Serpent Mind. I appreciate that, Shay. Serpent Minds in Ohio. I appreciate that. That was the other one I was talking about. But yeah, man. So it's definitely a whole lot of those going on, man, for real. And with that, you know, we're starting to look at the mounds in South America. You know what I'm saying? Tiahuashan. So then you look at that. If you look at that mound and the surface of that mound, that literally looks just like it was set up for a landing pad, you know, for crafts to land on. So it's a whole lot of that that's going on. You talk about the Mayans, like, and then even look at Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? When we look at Black Panther 1, right? Just one alone is showing how that is the visual of what we think about. We think about Lemuria or we think about Atlantis. They showed us that in Black Panther. So part 1, I would say, would be more towards kind of like the Lemurian side of, you know, inner Earth. You know what I mean? Like when they would fly, and then like the craft would, like, it would cloak itself, and then it would fly into the mountains. You know what I'm saying? It was a whole nother experience inside there. Like that's a real thing. And so even like people who've been deep out in the woods, you know what I'm saying? If you go deep out in the woods, you got to be careful because there's Sasquatches out there who can do the same thing. Like they can literally like fold time or create a portal or even like freeze time to where they can cloak themselves where you won't even see them, but they could be standing right there. And matter of fact, that reminds me of the movie Predator. I don't know if y'all remember, like in the movie Predator back in the day, like when they were in the deep jungle in the woods, and like the people, you know, they had them goggles on, and right, they was able to see, but they was only able to see the energy. Like they was able to detect the, you know, the so-called predators based off of their frequency, based off of their energetic signature and their auric frequency. And that was the only way they could detect them because the predators were so far advanced, they knew how to cloak themselves. Even in the suits that they were in, they knew how to cloak themselves to where you couldn't see them with the naked eye. And so, and that's something that's happening now with spirit as well. I'm not sure how many people have been experiencing like the all of the, appreciate that, Chanel, with the serpent mile. Let me see. Agree, brother. However, where I stop is when people start saying that the greatest African architectural achievements were the work of extraterrestrials. Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta look at who and what we are. If you look at it that way, because we're not we're not naturally from here. You know what I'm saying? Like we're if you look at Black people, when you start talking about like carbon and melanin and all that, we're literally crystallized carbon, which is it's star matter, it's stardust. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, like that's where the components of what we are made of comes from. It comes from the cosmos. You know what I mean? So it's like if you think about even the way we breathe in this air, right? We're only alive if we inhale and exhale and breathe in the air. The air in which that, you know what I'm saying, we're breathing is the same air in which we transform back into the same way we came into the body. And that goes right back to what? The cosmos, the universe. You know what I mean? And if you look at the universe and it's the percentages of what the universe is composed of, I want to say it's like what, like 97% dark energy or dark matter or something like that. Like it's a crazy number. So at the end of the day, like it's not taking away or diminishing anything from us as a people. You know what I mean? Because like if you want to be technical, like we're not even African. You know what I mean? Because we're indigenous and native to the globe. You know what I mean? Like the humanity like began in Africa, but that's not just us. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole globe is what, you know, just I feel like significant achievements, regardless of, you know what I'm saying, what part of the globe that it's from. But the fact that other higher life forms were not involved with the creation aspects of human beings, that's something that I would love to get your take on it. In regards to like where you feel like, you know, humanity, like, or I should say African peoples originated from. And if you want to, man, share it in the chat. You know what I'm saying? We could bring it to the floor for discussion, because based off of my research, man, and based off of the studies that I've learned, like it definitely, life didn't start here on this planet for us. But like I said, I would love to see and hear where your origin story originates from. You know what I mean? Like back to however far, however deep you went with your research, and then, you know, we can kind of, you know, compare notes and see, you know, what we come up with. But one thing about me, I don't ever consider myself to be someone who knows everything, who knows it all by any stretch. And I love to learn. So like I said, if you got something that, you know, you have that can kind of bring like some edification or some enlightenment to, you know, how you feel about us as a people and where we originate, I definitely would love to, you know, hear your take on it. Let me see. Invention into aliens. Miles in Georgia, yeah, brother Fraser. I definitely agree with that. Like I said, they're everywhere, all over the planet, in the earth, in the water. You know what I'm saying? In caves, like there's pyramids all over the place, and there's mounds. It's a lot. You know what I mean? A whole lot. So it's like at the end of the day, it's about what we're here to do and why we're here and what we're going to do. Let me see what this. Let me see what you said. Did you bones only last more than 200 years? Bones turn ashes to dust. No, I never heard that before. That bones turn to dust after 200 years. I'm not saying it's not possible. I think everything disintegrates and breaks down over time. But I'm not sure about, if like I guess the average age of bones is 200 years. I had to do some studying and research. I think a good source of information for that would be probably like Sheikh Anta Diop's work. The one who wrote the book Civilization. What was it? Barbarism, Civilization Before Barbarism, I think was the name of that book, where he actually proved, scientifically that the ancient Kemites or the ancient pyramid builders were of melanated descent. Like they were, people of Black African descent, not much like the ones where, nowadays the current people who live there in the Middle East, you know what I'm saying? Like they pretty much trying to claim like they own Kemet, which we all know that's not the case. But so I'm not really sure what the timeline is for bones, but I also do know that different bones I feel like kind of disintegrate or they kind of dissipate at a different rate too. So it's kind of like if you look at people's hair, like some people's hair grow a lot faster than others, or some people's nails grow a lot faster than others. So I would imagine that might be the same case when it comes to like the body decomposing. I guess based upon maybe how the ceremonial rites were done, like the funeral rites, or whether they was embalmed. Like I think there could be a lot of different variables in regards to that, but that's something I don't necessarily have the answer to, but I definitely would like to look up, do some more looking into it to see and get some more information on it. But the superpowers, yeah, clairvoyance is a real one. Clairvoyance, and it's like what 5 or 6, I think, different senses that we have access to. Most people, and I believe there's more than that. But I think you got to kind of be a really high performer or achiever in regards to like knowing how to really like manipulate your energy, right? But that's something too that I want to get into, with us with the tribe. It's like even like when you're talking about that, like the Merkaba, you know what I mean? Like there's different ways we can meditate, and in those meditations, like there's different ways that you can kind of create almost like your own like little vortex, you know what I mean? Where you can kind of set yourself up to kind of get ready to astral project. And so like with me, the times that I've astral projected, I won't say that it was necessarily like you utilizing the Merkaba. I think it was just a straight, just kind of like projection for me personally. But it is a lot of information and research on using and tapping into the Merkaba, which is like being able to manipulate our auric fields, you know what I'm saying, and get them to move a certain direction, a certain way for us to be able to ascend energetically. So that's something that I definitely look forward to doing, with the tribe, and then also especially when you talk about this with the dreams. And matter of fact, there's a couple books. Let me grab these books real quick that I want to share with y'all, because I had a couple of other people that I was talking to about dreams and how like they have symbolism. So I'm gonna share a couple of these books real quick with y'all that I use to look up my dreams, like whenever I have a vivid dream or lucid dream. Okay. So yeah, this is one of them right here. This one's called the Dreamer's Dictionary, and it's by Lady Stern Robinson and Tom Corbett. I got that one a few years ago. That's one that's pretty good with like interpreting dreams. And then another one I got is this one right here. Dreams, Images, and Symbols. So this is another good one right here. I know back in the day, like I had these probably about, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years or something like that. There was probably like $10, $15 if that back then. But I know Amazon and a lot of these other platforms, like they really like price gouging on a lot of the books. So I don't know if those books are part of them or not, but those are definitely pretty cool with like looking into and looking up your dreams, you know what I mean? And trying to find like the symbolism and the meaning of them. But another thing too, man, when it comes to like dreams and interpretation, don't discount like numerology. You know what I mean? Like look up the symbolisms to the numbers. You know what I mean? And what those numbers, how they kind of can correlate to your dreams, because numbers is a real big thing when it comes to like analyzing and breaking things down. And seeing like the meanings, the symbolisms, all the different aspects that comes to our experience. And Kosi, Waves and color streams. Yeah, colors too. Colors definitely have a significance to them. Even when you talk about business, right? A lot of I'm not sure how many of the tribe like our entrepreneurs are into like anything that has to do with like business and branding and all that. But when it comes to like having a brand, especially like for your business, like if you really want to go deep into this thing, they call it, most people hear about like target audience or target demographics, things of that nature. So with them demographics, of course, you'll get the basic kind of like data points or key performance indicators based upon your audience or the people that you're targeting as your audience, right? But when you talk about really doing a deep dive into like market research and really wanting your brand to be as like I guess as most effective as possible, especially if you want to go deep into like what Cozy's talking about with like the color streams and colors and all that, then you want to go deep into like researching the moods and the feelings and you know what I'm saying, like the emotions that are tied to colors. Because when you do that, now you can kind of paint a picture based off of your brand or your logo or you know what I mean, like whatever your business or your product or service is, you can kind of like create an energy signature or energy kind of like an energy outfit, you know what I'm saying, like clothes for your brand to like match with people's psychology. You know what I'm saying? They call that, I think they call it psychographics. Psychographics, I think is what they call that. So it's like now you're able to kind of tap into the feelings, the energy, you know what I'm saying, the essence and ashe of the color, and then tie that to whatever your product brand and your service is. And then also, so now it's kind of like what I like to call subliminal seduction, right? So it's kind of like you're seducing someone's mind or influencing their mind, you know what I'm saying, subliminally, because as the person who created the brand or you created that, product or service, that you did the research to see that this color has this influence over, saying this type of psyche or this type of aspect of the psyche of, you know what I mean, a person. So like that's deep because that's a lot of stuff that we see on the internet every day anyway. Like we have that metadata that they're selling all over the place and people are able to tap into it, you know what I'm saying? And then see like how to use that in regards to like marketing and sales and all that stuff. Yeah, boy, you're right. I shot guys about soul. That's facts. My man said mankind, Cactus Jack. Yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. Yes, sir. Let me see. I see some more comments in here. Hold on, family. Let me see if I can get some of these real quick. Any correlation now, Armstrong? Yeah, Mike. Yep. That's facts. That's facts. Like what you saying? Like yeah, that's big facts right there. So my boy Mike, I appreciate the comment, bro. He said any correlation to Neil Armstrong's quote, "That's one small step for man and one giant step for mankind." That's facts because that, and they saying it like right there on, you know what I'm saying, on Front Street. And some people debate whether or not they actually landed on the moon or not. That's a whole nother conversation. But I do know that that is definitely what they were referring to in regards to um, one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind. Because the kind of man that we're talking about, the ones that is causing a lot of stuff that's happening on the planet now, those are the mankind's. Those are the people that, or those mans that kind of been infused or manipulated genetically somehow, some way. You know what I mean? And then from there, when you talk about human, you're talking about us because we have the hue. The hue, when you talk about deep, dark melanated people, they call them blue black. You know what I'm saying? Like deep blue black. You know what I'm saying? Like so dark, so black, it almost look blue. Like that's real. And then if you really want to go deep into it, when you look at ancient Kemet, look at the hieroglyphs. Like Google the hieroglyphs and look at some of the hieroglyphs in ancient Kemet that have to do with Asar, Aset, Heru. You know what I'm saying? And then if you look at Asar, you'll see his color. The color of his skin was green. You know what I mean? So like that was a real thing for us. Like our skin used to be green, which is crazy. But if you look at them hieroglyphs, you'll see that his skin is green. And what that is that was the original form of melanin, melanated people initially, right? But then something, I forgot what it was or how somehow something where our melanin got like, I don't know if it was like tainted or convoluted or something where it turned brown, like a rust brown. And if anybody in the tribe, if y'all got that story or that scenario, please share it in the chat because I can't remember exactly what it was verbatim, but I know it was something that happened along the line that caused the skin to turn from green to brown. So it was definitely something in regards to like the melanin. So I can't remember exactly what it was. Let me see. I'm not sure about the movie Heroes. I don't really remember that movie, Teresa. But anybody else, if y'all Remember that movie Heroes? Please let me know a little bit. Or Theresa, if you could share a little bit about it in the chat. I don't remember that one though, unless I'm just having a brain fart. So I'm not sure. Like, it might be a little cloudy with my memory, but I can't remember that one. I'm pretty sure I might have seen it, but I'm not sure. But Adana, that's facts about the veil. It's definitely real. Like, definitely real. Like, and that's the thing too. I know we all heard that quote, all kinfolk, all skinfolk ain't kinfolk. That's a real thing. That's a real thing, man. For real. Real thing. Boy, I told what's going on with you, Ogun. I did what's good with your family. But yeah, down in the veil, yeah, it's definitely real. And it's real in so many different ways too. Like, so many different ways, it's not even funny. Whether we talking about the truth, we talking about consciousness, where we talking about like even like the environment. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at the chemtrails, especially in Florida, like the chemtrails that's all up in the air, there's a reason for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like 10 years ago, they wasn't having all them chemtrails and all that. I remember like looking through my phone, like like downloading a bunch of old pictures, like to use for some of these presentations, like to share some of the information from that I've been researching, and collecting over the years. And I just remember looking down here in Florida. I remember back in the day, and I'm sure anybody from Florida that's on here could recall this. And it might have been in other states too, but I can't really speak to that. But I know here, like, I remember all the time, if you looked up at the sky, you would see that real big rainbow, like around the sun, right? And so you would see a beautiful, a perfect symmetrical rainbow around the sun. And now, if you look up, even on a sunny day, you still can't really see that far up, into the sky, because there's so many chemtrails and so many elements of pollution, that they're putting in the air. And so it's crazy, to see that, but it's a real thing. In regards to uh, I see y'all going in with the comments, man. I told Ogun, I did emoja. Let me see. T said the colors red and yellow over fat. Yeah. And you know what's funny? I never even thought about that. How much red and yellow are involved in these fast food. But yeah, you're right. Because initially I would only think of McDonald's, but if you think about it, Burger King has it. Who else got it? Chick-fil-A with the red. They don't got a lot of yellow, but they got the red. Who else got red and yellow? There's a few of them that. So yeah, you're right. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense for sure. The flat earthers and the globe earthers, that's a debate I ain't getting into, because that's one of them where they could go, you can go on and on and on and on and on. I've heard a lot of different really strong arguments for that, but I'm gonna tell you like this. Me personally, I asked shout out to the master teacher, man, Professor Kaba. I asked him that same question years ago. I think it was one of the times he was here doing an event in Miami, and we was chopping it up, like, I think either the day before or the day after the actual event. And we literally was in we was in a spot, man. I think we was like in there for like 12 hours straight. He was killing it, like literally just like what he was doing on that last episode we had. He did that for like 12 hours straight. Like, I promise you, it was crazy. But I remember it was so dope because it was the exact same environment, except it was probably about 10 or 12 of us that was in that event. It was like a private event, but it was dope though, because he was killing it. And so I remember asking like, yo, which one? Because at the time, I can't remember what year this was, but whatever year it was, there was a lot of I guess there's a lot of arguments and debates online about who, whether the earth was flat or if it was round. But when I asked him, he said it's round, unequivocally. And I forgot how he broke it down, but he used like a scientific experience or a scientific experiment as his justification to break down how and why the earth is round, or a globe versus being flat. I can't remember exactly how he broke that down, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if I can find the footage, because I do have all that footage still. And it's funny because he was telling me I need to start sharing that old footage too, so I'm gonna do that. But I'm gonna look and see if I can find that where he breaks it down as to why he gave his definition of the Earth being a globe, and the answer as to why he said it was a globe based off of the science. I can't remember what it was, but I'll have to see if I can find that to share and see what your thoughts are on it. But you said, Shah said, hell no, they ain't go to they ain't go to no moon. No, they didn't go to the moon. How we have more technology now. Well, that's okay. So I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna make the argument or the debate that they did or did not go to the moon. But what I will say is that they definitely did. They did have the technology to do it back then, because you gotta think now, like, let's just look at 2025, right? Where we are with our technology here in 2025, they probably about 100 years, past that with the things they can do. You know what I'm saying? Because we only get like the hand-me-downs. Like we get, you know what I'm saying? We get the crumbs. We don't get what they got because they getting it directly from the crafts. But now this is where I challenge you to see, looking at this from a universal perspective, right? Now, you as being a melanated shy goddess, right? You have the ability and the equipment or technology, quote unquote, to go wherever you want to go. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have to take your body where you want your mind or your ashe or your energy to be. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so this is real. So you don't have to take your body wherever you want your mind or your energy, your ashe, your spirit, or your experience to be. And what I mean by that is I'll never forget I was watching the little baby documentary, and he was talking about when he had went to prison, and he was saying how like they was asking him how he was able to kind of deal with and cope with that whole experience of being in prison, and not being able to, be free and move around his family, whatever. And he was like, well, it was hard, but you're like, what, like, I ain't let it like get the best of me because, I don't never let my mind be like captured, where my body has to be. And I was like, yo, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? I like how he broke that down. So pretty much he was saying like, yeah, they got my body locked up, but they can never lock up my mind. You know what I'm saying? He was like, so yeah, my body was here in prison during that time, but like my mind was out here, you know what I'm saying, visualizing and strategizing and looking towards, creating and manifesting what he's doing now. So it's like he was able to take his mind and time travel to the future and start working on all the stuff that we see that came to fruition now back then when he was locked up, because he made that commitment to himself that I'm not going to let my mind be locked up just because my body is. So I feel like with that, you could definitely astral travel and go wherever you want to go. And that's something that, I look forward to working on with the tribe too, like doing remote viewing, sessions, because I've been a part of a few different remote viewing sessions and they're dope, because what you do in a remote viewing session, right? Especially if you got more than one person, you get a group of people, or you can do it really just two or by yourself. But if you get a group of people together, you know what I'm saying, y'all all get together and you meditate together, right? And you meditate simultaneously to astral project, to look at a specific location, on the planet. And everybody who's in that, that circle, or everybody who's in that session will all focus on the exact same place, at the exact same time, right? And while you're doing that, you can then, sit in that meditation for like probably like 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever. And then when everybody comes out, everybody goes around in a circle and shares their experience of what they saw. And then how you can kind of see to get receipts, and dig into what actually was really seen, is then go to Google Earth, you know what I mean? And look at whatever location that y'all decided to all lock in and tap in and focus on collectively. You can go to Google Earth and look at that location and then see whether or not y'all all saw anything of any similarities in regards to what was actually happening at that location. And so it's dope because I've done it before, and we all were able to actually tap in and bring different elements, or literally create or bring different pieces of the picture to, or the puzzle to the picture. And so it was dope because, you get to see just how powerful, our minds are, and how powerful imagination is, and the ability to maneuver throughout the universe, like by being able to kind of detach the body aspect and then still travel with the mind or the mind's eye, you know what I'm saying? And then, manipulate and move, your experience to wherever you want it to be. And so it's definitely a real thing. And that goes back to tapping into those extra sensories, perceptions, the ESPs and all that other stuff that we were talking about earlier. So yeah, I do believe, to answer your question, Shoutout, they did have the technology to do that for sure. I know for a fact they did, because that was after they started getting the wreckages from the crash. But there's very, very debatable information out there in regards if they actually did or not. So that's another conversation. I definitely want to talk about it though, for sure, because that's definitely another conversation. But as far as I know, the elders that I study under and teach, they said nah, because there are beings on the moon, and they pretty much, I guess they ain't got a check-in ability like Big U or whatever that dude name is. When they said that murder, or that's in jail for, I guess, for murdering Nip. But they said he used to have some thing going on where I guess he made people kind of check in before they came in through whatever part of LA that is that he's at. So like, but that's what I've gathered is going on the moon, that they don't have the rights to check in on that spot. So, that's how that goes. Let me see. I don't think we. Oh, okay, I got you, bro. I got you. Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. And see, that's another thing, man. I'm speeding through the comments, trying to get to them because it's not like when I got a guest on, I could like focus like both places at one time and move it along smoothly. But when it's solo, I'm definitely looking to get me some help so I can have somebody kind of help me with the comments so I can focus on chopping up with y'all, but at the same time still being able to bring everybody's comments to the floor like we normally do. So it's a little minor adjustment, man. But I'm gonna definitely make sure that we get the comments out there from the tribe as well. Let's see. Yeah, and let me see. I disagree with the notion that the pyramids were built by alien race from another world, and not. No, I never. Well, like I said, that's a whole nother transmission, man. Because okay, put it like this: when you talk about and this is just like I said, this is just my research. And I'm not saying that this is like the indisputable, what I'm saying, like only truth or truth or what have you. But if you go back to, and I'm just only going to use like Kemet, right? But when I use Kemet, I'm also talk about the Dogon tribe, right? The Dogon tribe of Mali. So the Dogon tribe from antiquity, they are actually the original Kemites. You know what I'm saying? They originally came from Kemet. You know what I mean? Like before, I can't remember which one of them wars or takeovers or whatever. I don't know if it was like which one, because a bunch of them came in there with that bullshit pillaging Kemet. But anyways, the Dogon migrated out of Kemet, you know what I'm saying, into, the mountains of Mali. But the Dogon has the most, to me, that as far as that I've done deep research with, they have the most intact historical account of their existence on the planet from the the Kemetic empires, right? So when we talk about Nubia, we talk about Kush, and we talk about all those antiquity places of the continent, right? The Dogon actually came from Kemet, and they kept the historical records with them, and they symbolize that also with the ceremony that they have. I think it's either every 50 or every 70 years, where they have a commemoration of the time that they received the visitation from the Nomos, right? And so the Nomos are like they are like almost like a mermaid or merman, like they're sea people, sea beings, but they came from the star system of Sirius, right? And so now when you talk about the star system of Sirius and you talk about Orion's belt, all that is connected. All of it's connected. You know what I mean? So like the Nomos came from the star system of Sirius, which is those are the progenitors to the intelligence that the Kemites received, you know what I'm saying, and towards in regards to like some of the structures and some of the intelligences that we had. Like that's how they knew about Sirius long before the technology was available for them to see it in telescopes and all that, is because they had direct contact from the Nomos from the star system of Sirius, right? So when you talk about how that is an connection to Kemet, like what I'm saying, like that's something that has me saying like, yeah, the pyramid builders or the builders of some of the mounds and structures were of an extraterrestrial I would say origin. You know what I'm saying? Because Sirius is not terrestrial to our planet, you know what I mean? So it's extra. Like it came from a different star system and a different, planet. So it's like that's extra to if we looked at the planet Earth as Terra, like that was one of the old names too, Terra. They are extra, to Terra, and they are astral. They're astral travelers from Sirius, you know what I'm saying, that came here and then, helped with the whole creation story with Kemet. Let me see. Try if I can get back in here. Trying to buy the sun's benefits. Let me see what you're talking about, and Kosi. Trying to blot out the sun's benefits for melanated and help less fortunate or less ones at a time. Yeah, it's a lot. That's exactly. I think you're talking about with the chemtrails and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a whole lot. Yep. Shy guys, I see y'all going in. The Van House Bell, all that stuff. Yes, sir. Yep. Yeah, it's deep, man. It's real deep, family. But you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, though, it ain't over till we win. And we at the point now where we're seeing, the transmission and the transformation of not just the planet, but the solar system. You know what I'm saying? Like we're seeing a lot of solar, astrological cycles, that's ending and beginning. So for us, it's a beautiful thing because we're going back into the Aquarian age, which is, the matriarchal age of the mothers and balance, Maut, Iwa, Kwele, E-Ray, all that is all coming into, fruition. Let me see. Nah, brother Mike, I haven't spoke to him yet. And honestly, I haven't really shared a lot of my content. But this is the beginning of that part of the content for me. But yeah, I definitely know his work though. Yeah, he got good work, great work, that he puts out on the metaphysics space, man. I'm more so though, I was more raised by the teachings of Dr. York, Dr. Delbert Blair, and then don't let me forget, shout out to the ancestor Credo Mutwa as well, the Zulu shaman, high priest. And those three would be my top three in regards to people who taught me in regards to metaphysics, and especially when we talk about the whole extraterrestrial, aspects of consciousness, and these different types of ancient civilizations from Sumeria, Atlantis, Lemuria. Let me see. It's a lot of different ones. The Inner Earth, Shambhala. It's a lot. You know what I mean? So but my top three definitely was Dr. York, and then Dr. Blair, and then Credo Mutwa. And so I'll be sharing some of their works pretty soon in the near future, especially Credo Mutwa, because he has a dope a piece that I just found, I think like 2 days ago when I was doing some research on him. Because matter of fact, I got a couple of my books with me, man. So this is for those who aren't familiar with Baba's work, man. This is Credo Mutwa. So Credo Mutwa is he's a Zulu priest and shaman and healer, but he also is a contact Baba Mutwa, he was actually abducted, and he was a contactee as well. So he's had multiple experiences with extraterrestrials, like where he got actually like pretty much kidnapped, abducted, from the planet, and they had him on the ship, and they did some crazy things to him, man. Unfortunately, those weren't the agreeable types of extraterrestrials. They were definitely not the agreeable ones. They were the opposite. But he shared his story about how all that happened and his experiences with it. But he also was a contactee, which means he was contacted by beings from a different planet and star system where he had direct connection and conversations and transmissions with them as well. And there's another one. I don't know if I have that book in here with me. Yeah, I do. One second. Yeah, I got this. Yeah, this one right here. Now, this one is dope. Like this one right here is a problem because, like I said, I only talk about the stuff that I know, that I got concrete evidence and receipts for. But shout out to George Adamski, because he wrote this book called "The Spaceships Have Landed." No, my bad, Inside the Spaceships. But he has another book too called "The Spaceships Have Landed," and I can't remember which one came out first. I think "The Spaceships Have Landed" came out first, and then he dropped "Inside the Spaceships." But dope work though. And when I tell you about receipts, like bro got receipts on top of receipts on top of receipts in this one and his first one. So it's a lot of information out there, in regards to like a lot of this stuff when we talk about these extraterrestrial experiences and extraterrestrial activity. Like this is the one. And there's a lot more that I did in regards to like the Sirius mystery and Sirius, the star system series, but this one is dope. And shout out to bro that we were talking about agreeing and disagreeing. This is definitely a real strong source that ties real deep into the connection between the Dogon tribe, and then their connection to the nomos of Sirius and the Sirius star system. Like they did some real dope work, man. And like I said, I got a lot more coming, but just off the cuff, I'm gonna show you right here on this page. This is page, I can't even tell. Anyway, on this page right here, you'll see they have a picture of Aset, and you'll see her wearing the crown, and then also you'll see her holding the ankh, and then she has a staff, and then you'll see where they have a picture of a demigod. I think his name was Owanis, and see, Owanis is one of them beings who I think he was like a Babylonian or something like that. But if you look at the way he's made on the page, you see how he looks like a dude, like a man, but he got like the body of a fish. Like that right there is kind of going into what I'm talking about when we start talking about these sea gods and sea goddesses and stuff, right? Mermaids and mermen. Like that's all a real thing. Like, and then that brings me back to the part 2 of Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? Like when they was battling with the Spanish brother or the South American brother. I can't think of his name. Man, what was his name? The dude with the feathers on his feet. But yeah, that's real too. You know what I'm saying? Like they showing that. Earlier we was talking about Inner Earth, right? That's more so like Lemuria. But now when you talk about Black Panther Part 2, they're showing us what, like, a glimpse of what Atlantis is, or what Atlantis, you know what I'm saying, is about. Like, because that's literally like a depiction of Atlantis. You know what I mean? Like the underwater civilization and all that. So it's deep, man. And matter of fact, we're going hard these next we're going hard, period, man. Because tomorrow I'm gonna be right back with Wuna. And y'all know, for those on the live now that seen any of her calls, especially the live, like, you know, she tapped in. And so me and her, we was just chopping it up last night. Me and her, shout out to her and Baba Shola, man. We was all chopping it up last night. And so we're gonna run it back tomorrow to get deeper into the extraterrestrial experience as well, because she told me about a couple downloads she's been having and visions. And so for y'all who've been on the live streams with me and her when she was giving out like full-blown divinations right there on on the live stream, man, like she tapped in on a whole nother level. So we've been talking about all this stuff as well, and we kind of been comparing notes and experiences of what, you know, we've been seeing and experiencing on our own individual paths, but we kind of been bringing it together, you know, to kind of see what they've been getting and what they've been seeing and hearing and feeling. The same thing with me. So yeah, we definitely gonna be banging them out this weekend. Then I got a big one lined up Saturday, man. I ain't even gonna say nothing yet. I'll probably tell y'all tomorrow once I lock it in. Once we get the time and all that locked in. I'm definitely looking forward to this, because this is one. This brother's making waves, man. He making damn tsunamis all over the internet with the knowledge and the science that he dropping. So I'm looking forward to chopping it up with him Saturday. And I got another brother who I think I'm gonna be on his show next week. So we got a lot going on, man. We're definitely doing everything we can to bring, you know, the content to the forefront, to raise, elevate the consciousness of our people, as well as to kind of, you know, clear up the everything that's going on mentally, physically, spiritually, you know, emotionally, to kind of really be able to tap in, you know, to those extra levels of perception, those extra perception, extra sensory perceptions, ESPs. When is the meditation session? Good question, Mike. I think I might do it next weekend. It's a possibility. Nah, it'll be too. Yeah, this weekend won't work. But I think I'm gonna look towards doing it next weekend. And then, matter of fact, with our Ashe Tribe private community, we're gonna start wrapping up the weekly calls again, bi-weekly calls again, as well, to kind of really dive deeper into a lot of this stuff. See, that's funny. Wow. Let me see. Wow. Somebody just said something along them lines to me yesterday. That's why I was laughing. Like, that's funny. Yeah, I can't speak on it because I don't know. Like I said, I don't speak on nothing I don't know. But I do know what, you know, some people that I know, and I take and trust, you know, their integrity in regards to how they move. And so yeah, I've been hearing some things, man, but I don't really get into the you know, the he say she say, because there's so much of that going on. But you know, at the end of the day, I look at it like this, man. This is one of the things that I've shared, you know, about people who, you know, some of us might have like an eyebrow raise, like, man, you know what I'm saying, I don't know about them, you know what I'm saying. But the way I personally kind of deal with that kind of stuff, T, because I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with that one either. But I just don't like to speak on that. I don't have concrete receipts on, and especially like stuff that's I don't really have a direct, you know, like, it doesn't influence me one way or another directly. But I'll share this though. The way I look at stuff like that, and I'm not saying that, you know, that's the case because I don't know, but I look at it like R. Kelly, right? Like, I'll never in a million years agree with anything if what they said he was doing, you know, with underage females is true. I'll never in a million years agree with that, right? So, but me as a person, you know what I'm saying, I'm still gonna appreciate, you know, genius or greatness. So one thing I could never do, I can never take away his genius, you know, and his ability with his gift, right? So what I kind of do is I kind of like personally, I try to use like the Four Agreements method from what's his name, Don Miguel Ruiz, and it's dope, that book, The Four Agreements, because the Four Agreements, I think it's don't take anything personal, always try your best, be impeccable with your word, and damn, what's the fourth one? I can't remember the fourth one, but anyway, that kind of stuff I kind of separate from me, the person, versus me, the I guess audience. You know what I mean? Because as a person, I don't agree with any of those things that was done or that he's been convicted of. But as an audience member, I love the music. The music was dope, so I'm gonna still listen to the good music, and I'm not gonna like condemn him, from not listening to the music no more. But at the same time, I'm not gonna agree with somebody. I'll never agree with a guilty party. I just put it like that. But I'm not gonna not allow myself to still experience, the genius that the creator kind of, put in him in order for him to give to the world in regards to his gift. Let me see. Oh, he wrote. Okay, I'm gonna check that out, Teresa. I appreciate you sharing it. I'm gonna definitely check that out. Star Goddess, what you got? You got star seeds are alien to this planet, maybe. Oh man, Sean, you a mess. Listen, that's a whole nother transmission because I'm gonna share star seeds. I'm gonna revamp it. I got especially with all this AI and stuff. I've been playing with that AI, so I'm gonna revamp it and bring. If you talk about the children's book I wrote, that's funny because yeah, I'm gonna revamp it and I'm gonna share that. But if you're talking about like just in general star seeds, I would agree because like I said, it's a lot going on. Let me see. But yeah, we're gonna get into that, Shot Goddess, to answer your question. And then I forgot what was the brother's name, Mike. Let me just make sure, Mike. I'm gonna definitely be sharing when we're doing the meditations and also the remote viewing. Matter of fact, we might mess around and do, maybe if we did like an hour and a half, maybe we could do like 30 minutes on one and 30 minutes on the other, and then maybe do like a Q&A for like 30 minutes. But it'll definitely be coming up soon. I'll definitely be sharing it on the channel because I got a lot of different live streams already set up. So I'll be doing those and then I'll just post it, on the community channel as well. So shout out to all the new subscribers, man. We got a lot of new subscribers. We crossed the 4,000 mark. I think a couple days ago, man. I appreciate the love and support, family. And with that, what I'm gonna do for that, man, just because of y'all showing all the love and support, and I really do appreciate it, like for real. I'm gonna bring back the journal, and I'm gonna give out like, I don't know, I might give out like 40 copies, free copies, just to celebrate and commemorate the 4,000 subscribers, man. For those who haven't gotten it yet, because what I'm gonna do, brother Mike, I'm gonna use the journal too. In some of the private community sessions that we'll be having, because a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about now is like exercises, or there's like different parts of the journal where you can kind of document, a lot of these things, a lot of these experiences as well. And then we can kind of add on, and go throughout the journal and just hit like each portion of it, and bring about the exercises and the experiences. And so one of the things that I really look forward to doing is like seeing results. You know what I mean? Because one of the things, a lot of people have access to this information, have access to AI, have access to, all these things that we could use to create with. But, I think a lot of us aren't using it to the best of our ability or to maximize the potential of it. And so with all this, technology and all that, there's a lot of things that we really can tap into and use to our advantage, based upon, using the original AI, which is the ancestral intelligence. So now when we partner and we pair the ancestral intelligence with this so-called artificial intelligence, it's like a whole nother level of, elevation and progress that we can make in regards to, whatever it is that we do. But yeah, and Coach, that's real. He was real deep. And in fact, one of his chains, I'm not sure, and this is going to be part of the presentation that I do on him, but one of these chains or charms that he has, it might be that one. I'm not sure, or that one, but anyway, one of them, it actually has, I can't remember if it's like a crystal or a stone. It has some sort of extraterrestrial like item in it. You know what I mean? Like it contained and concealed artifact that was out of this world, like that was from another planet. And so that's what I'm saying. Like when it comes to like, these extraterrestrial stories and these extraterrestrial topics, like that's a real thing that I'm not sure how many people really, have tapped in or are tapped into like what's really going on. And another one, because I'm gonna get ready to shut it down soon, man, because I gotta be right. I'm gonna come right back again tomorrow. We're gonna tear it up this week, fam. And really for the rest of the existence, we're gonna be tearing it up because it's a lot to do. But the Damn, I lost my train of thought. It was about something with the extraterrestrials. I lost my train of thought, family. But here listening, clean. Appreciate you, family. Appreciate you. Look, that's what we're here for, man. We're here to pour into the tribe, man, and to pour into the community, man. It's a lot of work that needs to be done. We're doing it though. We're doing it. The freedom fighters are here, what I'm saying? The revolutionaries are here, the master teachers are here, the elders are here, the star seeds are here, the crystal children, everybody's here. We here. We here now. Oh, that's what it was. I'm glad I thought about it. Nibiru. We're gonna get into Nibiru too. So now we talk about Nibiru. A lot of people have said a lot of things and heard a lot of things and this and that, but Nibiru is definitely real. And it is definitely a mother craft that is huge. It's probably damn near the size of the planet Earth. So Nibiru, itself can't come into our, planet or atmosphere because it's too big. But Nibiru has scout ships that, come out of it, that release, from Nibiru, like other scout ships and smaller crafts that do come in and out of the planet. And we're going to definitely get into that as well in regards to Nibiru and like what's going on with Nibiru and the arrival of these beings. A lot of them been here already, always been here. A lot of them lived in the inner earth, and still do. And then a lot of them come in and out, of the planet as they so wish, because that that's what you can do when you got that ability, man. But yeah, Credo, unfortunately he did transition. He passed away, I want to say like maybe 2018, 19, something like that. It's been a little minute. He did transition. In fact, it might have been a little closer than that. But yeah, he did. Thank you, T. He did pass away. Um, it wasn't that long ago though, I don't believe. But yeah, so Volta, I'm not sure if you Neymar. There you go. I appreciate you, Mike. Yeah, that's what I was talking about from Black Panther 2. Neymar. Yeah, that's a real thing too. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think they used the I don't know if he was like a king or a god or whatever, Quetzalcoatl, something like that. I believe they used that as the inspiration for that character of Neymar, if I'm not mistaken. But Volta, I'm not sure if you regarding to Baba Mutwa in a good way or a bad way about the freak part, but if I'm not mistaken, you might be talking about the fact that he unfortunately he did get. Well, you might be saying that he was bisexual, if that's what you're regarding to. And if that's the case, yeah, that's part of his story. But he was molested. Unfortunately, I wasn't gonna bring that up, on the live stream because I don't like talking about stuff that I don't, that I don't like or I'm cool with. But yeah, he did get molested by the beings that abducted him, and he shared that in his story when he got back to the planet. Unfortunately, like he couldn't get it out of his psyche, and it did something to him to where he was unfortunately attracted to men, when he came back to the planet, what I'm saying, after his abduction. So yeah, that's a part of his story, but I'm not going to let that diminish the great work that he's done as a healer and as a teacher, what I'm saying, and as somebody who transmitted some very powerful information. So, and that wasn't like under his control, man. Like he was abducted. So, I mean, I don't know, how many of us had the ability to kind of, fight off or, be victorious, against the extraterrestrial entity or entities, but that is part of his story. He did, he did share that, and he was open, honest, and real about it. But for me, it goes back to, like I said, even like with the R. Kelly thing, like I'm definitely not going to let that diminish how I, appreciate his work and how his work has influenced me and helped me with my work as well. So, that is part of the story. Yep. But like I said, I'm still gonna rock with the wisdom, because that for me, that's what it's all about. Okay, appreciate you, Mike. Yeah, okay. I thought so. I'm not sure yet. Humble Hearts. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it next weekend. The like the meditation, like community calls and all that. But I'll keep y'all posted because I don't want to like over extend myself. I remember on a couple of lives I was doing, I was preparing to like run it right back the next day and do a live, but then life be lifing and things came up and kind of pushed my schedule around to the point where I wasn't able to do it. So I told myself now I'm not gonna like commit to an exact day and time until I know for sure that I got it locked in, and I can control it, because I don't want to like be one of them people that promises something and don't deliver. Like I take pride with delivering everything that I say I'm gonna do. But I definitely will be keeping y'all posted, and I definitely will be sharing that with y'all soon, man, for sure. And then, okay, yeah, I appreciate y'all, Maria. And then now I will say this, Humble Hearts. Now, Wunam will be back tomorrow. We're doing another live stream tomorrow, And then I'm doing another live stream Saturday too, with a brand new guest to the channel. But like I said, I'm gonna bring that up. I'm gonna confirm that when I lock it in with him. And then, but Wunam, we're doing tomorrow night for sure. I think we're probably gonna do like 9:30, 10 o'clock. But I'm gonna holler at them and get that confirmed. Once I get that locked in, I'll put the post. Y'all see the post come through the emails and through the comments in regards to what time we'll be doing the Wunam show tomorrow, and then also the new guest that's coming through these Ashe streets on Saturday, man. So I definitely look forward, to making this thing do what it do. Let me see. Got a couple more questions in here. Let me see. Chiquita. Yeah. Yeah, that's facts, Chiquita. Yeah, like that headdress is, if you look at it, right? I don't know if y'all saw that picture. I gotta see if I can find that page again. But yeah, Chiquita, to answer or to agree with your comment, that's real. That's where the Pope's headdress came from. That big tall, I forgot what they call it. Whatever that headdress is, that's to mimic, like the Kanaga mask of the Dogon. Not necessarily the mask, but it's to mimic the culture, I should say, of like the Dogon, which was that picture that I showed y'all of Owanis, where he was like a humanoid, but he had like the head, the back of his head was like a fish, and the front of his body was a humanoid, and then the back of his body was a fish. So those are like walking upright mermaids and mermen, that's a whole nother conversation too, but that's a real thing too. So yeah, that's real. So and just to kind of to bring clarity to what Chiquita's saying is, like, if you look at the Pope, like you Google the Pope and you see that headdress that he be wearing that Chiquita's talking about, if you took that same headpiece and you turned it sideways, it would look like the mouth of or it would look like the head and like the upper body of a fish. And like that's all esoteric symbolism. You know what I'm saying? That's where that comes from. It's all esoteric symbolism that we're seeing with a lot of these dying breeds of infrastructures and systems. You know what I mean? Like, and we talked about that earlier. So for the tribe that's just getting in, I think we're going almost 2 hours now. We talked about like kind of like a quick sports and a highlight of like a lot of things that's going on in the planet. So we started with the Pope dying, and then also with kind of like the three-headed monster or the three-headed empire of the beast, you know what I'm saying, of like Babylon and Gog and Magog, you know what I'm saying, all these ancient civilizations that we hear about that were doing all the stuff that we're seeing now, you know what I'm saying, and that they all kind of perished through a great flood or some sort of cataclysmic event. Excuse me. So we're like literally, we teetering on the, on the borders, on the fence of that same type of experience for the planet right now. And unfortunately, it's inevitable. Like something has to happen in order to reset the planet and to realign, you know what I mean, the consciousness of not just the planet, but the citizens and the beings, who live on this planet. We got to kind of realign that with not just the divine, aspects of Mother Earth, but like the divine aspects of the universe, of the cosmic mother as well. So we definitely have a lot of aligning and a lot of shifting to do to like transition, like I said, from the third dimension to the fifth dimension of frequency, of energetic frequency, and the experience that we're having. So to kind of share the three-headed monster thing, we were talking about the Vatican being the infrastructure that kind of controls the religious aspects of the planet, right? And then we talk about the financial aspect. We talk about Buckingham Palace in England and the old demon that just died a few years ago being the financier, being the financial, the financial aspect of this three-headed monster or three-headed beast, right? And then now you talk about the third part of that is America, you know what I'm saying? Like this corporation that we call a country of America, that's the military might. Like that's, they send their henchmen and, you know what I'm saying, the military across the globe to do their bidding. All of it's kind of collapsing and, falling apart. Like we see the whole entire, infrastructure of that former system, it's dying, it's transitioning, it's going out of our existence and out of our experience, just like the Piscean age that it ruled under. It ruled under the Piscean age, which is a lunar cycle. It was a 6,000 year lunar cycle that we was going under through the 6,000 year rule of the Canaanites. You know what I'm saying? That goes way deeper into that Wizard of Oz thing we were talking about with, the black people who, were behind all this foolishness to begin with. And somebody in the tribe was talking about how they did see the image of the Pope kissing the feet of black people. Well, those black people those are sellouts and traitors. Those are some very interesting types of people. And if you want to go deeper into that, check out my boy the elder, well, actually, ancestor, Steve Coakley. Look up Steve Coakley's work, you know, on YouTube. He talks about the Black nobility and those, you know, those collaborators. He talks about it in depth. Shout out to there's a new channel I just got exposed to not too long ago. Brother B Dale 1014, I think is his channel. He got some dope content too, where he talks about the Black nobility and a lot of similar things that we're talking about here tonight. I think, you know, there's different. I feel like researchers and content creators now who are like students of the same teachers that, you know, I grew up with, you know what I'm saying, who taught me. And so we all kind of have like a certain set of information, you know, based upon our own independent research or our own studies from learning from similar sources. You know what I mean? So it's like the information is definitely out there. It's about how much, you know, you've done in regards to like studying it and stockpiling. I've been studying and collecting all this stuff for years, man. I can't wait to share my presentation with y'all where I can show the timestamps, because like a lot of the sites that I've seen, like with crafts and a lot of the even like the stuff I researched, I would screenshot like the old picture of what I actually got the content, so it'll show the date of when, you know, I actually had took that picture, which is years ago. But you'll see that it's an old picture, but a lot of the stuff that the pictures of is stuff that's happening now. So it all, you know what I'm saying, it all lines up. It's all in alignment with what we're seeing, what we're experiencing in regards to the planet. And ultimately it boils down to a cosmic shift. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking. That's one of the ones I'm talking about. T. I think y'all talking about Baba Credo Mutwa. Yeah, he was interviewed by David Icke, if that's how you say it. But that's one of them. That's one of the ones that's dope. He went in on that one for real. So but that's definitely one of the ones that that we that I was talking about and studying. Let me see what we got. For sure, you're welcome, brother Mike. Let me see. Yeah, that chain crazy, and Coach, he got some stuff on that chain, bro. Like he got some stuff on that thing, man. For real, for real. Oh, 2020. Okay, I appreciate it, T. I thought it was, yeah, I didn't think it was too long. Hey, it's all good, Sugarfoot. We appreciate you joining us, man. The replay will definitely be up. You know, you can definitely catch it, you know, in the live stream playlist as well. But I'll definitely look into getting the actual episode uploaded ASAP too. But yeah, we got a lot more coming though. I appreciate the love and support. We definitely appreciate you tapping in with us, man. And we're gonna definitely keep it coming. Like I said, we got the Wunam coming. Fraser, I believe you're right with that too, bro. The mothership and Ezekiel's will. I think you're right with that. And then even like the Book of Enoch. I don't know how many of the tribe members, you know what I'm saying, studied and went deep into the Book of Enoch, but that shares a whole lot of the same information we're talking about now too, because the Book of Enoch, there's a reason why that book wasn't put into the current, you know, King James Bible or whatever, because it shared a lot of the information we're talking about now is in the Book of Enoch. You know what I mean? So it's like with them using the religious aspects of, you know what I'm saying, control and manipulation on the planet, they're not going to put anything in our, you know, like in our path that's going to help us to really tap into who and what we are. You know what I mean? Like that's going against the whole infrastructure of what the system was created to do. You know, the system was created to keep us, you know, in that dumb, deaf, blind, you know what I'm saying, sleep spell status. But, you know, if you share something like the Book of Enoch with some people that, you know what I'm saying, that's melanated, that have, you know, an energy signature or frequency that can tap in and vibrate to that, now you're talking about somebody who, you know what I'm saying, can transform from like little gizmo, a little cute little gremlin into a real, you know what I'm saying, gremlin, like a real monster, because you can't control, you know, that when cute little gizmo get wet, you know what I'm saying, after what, 9-10 o'clock or whatever it was, and then he turned into the draconian, to the reptilian. Like it's crazy. Like even if you look at gremlins, like all this symbology or symbolism and symbology they've been showing us all along. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been there from day one. Like literally, I wasn't even thinking about the gremlins, but the gremlins are showing us, you know, what it was too back then. Like for real. So yeah, it's definitely deep. Yeah, and then that CERN thing, yeah, that's real tea. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a whole lot going on, man. Whole lot. But yeah, so we definitely we're gonna get this thing cracking tomorrow, family. I gotta get ready to log off so I can get some rest, man, and get back at it, you know, tomorrow and make this thing pop. Let me see. Real quick. Oh man, listen. Let me see. Hold on. Shy, it's all good. I still got a few, but I appreciate you. That actually Those are hand drawn, man. That was from a what is it called? I think it was an event called like sip and draw or draw and sip, something like that. I can't remember what it was. But it was like a date night thing, man. And me and the queen went out and we went to the I can't remember what it was called. It was like sip and paint, I think is what it's called. And yeah, painted those. So those are courtesy of your boy, man, and the queen. I definitely appreciate it. Look, if you like them, man, I might see can I get them like if there's any way I can kind of like make copies of it or something. Like I definitely don't mind doing that. If you like it for sure. And then let me see. Take your time. Yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna get it cracking for sure. Like I said, we got one on tomorrow, then we got the new one on Saturday, and then probably chill Sunday. But and then next week we got some dope ones lined up next week too. Matter of fact, shout out to Baba Ogun Tolu, the Balogun Shango USA. Me and him supposed to be doing one soon too. I gotta get with Baba. I'm gonna holler at him tomorrow, see can I run him down sometime soon to get get the Balogun back on here as well. So we definitely got a lot of dope stuff coming, man, to really bring this this information and this ashe, elevate this frequency, man. But I can't wait for y'all to see all the new the new guests that we got, and then we're gonna keep doing what we do, how we've been doing it. But yeah, peace and blessings, brother John, man. I appreciate you joining us tonight, bro, for sure. And then T Wriggles, yeah, I just excuse me, I just learned about brother Stokeley like man, less than maybe a month or two ago. And when I first saw the first video I ever seen of him, I'm like, yo, how did I never hear about this brother? Like, how could he have been in existence dropping that kind of science and that type of heat and knowledge? I ain't never heard of him, man. So that was a pleasant surprise. So I'm gonna definitely, it's to the point where I even took like his name and a link to the video I saw and all that, and like put it in one of my little stash boxes for like research and and ideas, because he's somebody I'm gonna definitely study him and research his work and knowledge, and figure out how I can kind of work that into what we do here with Ashe, because he definitely has some powerful work, man, that he did for sure. Yeah, Shy Guys, he is dope. I like his work too. I just found out about him like literally. Matter of fact, I think he was the one that was talking about that shared brother Coakley's work, if I'm not mistaken. And that was, like I said, I just literally just crossed paths with brother B-Dell's page like maybe not even a month ago, I don't think. So I literally just learned about both of them, brother B-Dell and brother Stokeley. So it's like that's some new new heat that I rock with, man, because they both dropping heat, man. I respect people who who doing it and who making way for the community, man. So let me see. Cortical, just yeah, crazy. Oh man. Let me see. How are the Baba song? They doing good, man. I talked to them. Let me see. I talked to Need the other day. We supposed to be trying to do something, and then yeah. I haven't spoken to her in a minute, but I spoke to her husband. Matter of fact, me and him was just chopping it up like 2 or 3 days ago. IG. Matter of fact, she's got shout out to she's got I think she's going to like London or something for her. I don't know if y'all saw the last episode I did with them, but she has a dope play, a short film, I should say, that she got, and it's doing some good things, man. So I think she got the opportunity to go to London for some sort of like, I don't know if it's like a premiere or I'm not sure, but you know what I'll do? I'll see if I can get a hold of them, man. Shoot, maybe I hope I can get them on here again too before they go to come and share with the tribe like what they have going on. But her short film is doing well, man. So I haven't spoken to her, that recently, but me and Baba, her husband, we spoke like 2 days ago. We was just chopping it up. So, but I'll reach out to them, man, and see if I could set something up. Let me see. They messed up giving face. Listen, that's real, Chiquita. But listen, look, hit a good meditation, man. Look, you hit a good meditation, shoot. I'm telling you, that's the real, intelligence for real. So it's like that's the one that been getting me right, man. Like I still ain't as consistent as I need to be, but I've been doing, I've been getting back, making myself do it, and every single time it's a dope download. Every time. Matter of fact, the night before the episode Fresh Copy, the last one, I had a real strong meditation, and it's crazy because I feel like a lot of the energy that was on that show, I can't take no credit, and nor will I ever try for his energy, but I just know I was prepared with my energy to like come in, you know what I'm saying, with that show, because I just had such a dope download, you know, with the meditation the night before. So it's like that really is a very powerful tool, especially like I said, with what's going on now, because you know, the Mother Earth herself is elevating. You know what I'm saying? Like the frequency and the way and the rate that the planet, you know, time is on the planet, it's elevating, it's moving real fast. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to get that energy up out of here. So we got to go through the extraction and the extermination of all these low vibrational frequencies and all these, you know, demons and devils and reptilians and draconians and, you know, all this evil shit that's kind of holding the planet down. We got to get rid of it, man. We got to look at them like cavities, you know, like we got to pull them things up out of there and toss them up out of here and get them up out of there, man, like for real, because it's over. It's a wrap. You know, the mother herself, you know, Mother Earth, she gonna see to it that we get these devils up out of this, you know, out of the planet, man. And then another thing too, I'm not sure how many of y'all have seen the image or, you know, did any research on the crafts, the UFOs that flew over the White House back in like 1952. I want to say it was like July 11th, 1952. But go check that out if y'all haven't seen it. Check out UFOs over the White House. That happened in real life back in the 50s, and they sat there, you know, and they came for like I think it was like, I can't remember how many days, but I got it in my notes. But they were over the White House for days. You know what I mean? There was no way that they could play that off, or they could kind of like they did try to do Roswell. They said it was a hot air balloon or some bullshit. I can't remember what they said, but they couldn't do that with them over the White House. So listen, mark my words. I ain't saying when or if, but don't be surprised if you see another sighting like the one you find online now with some crafts over the White House again, because that's where we are now. Like, there's no denying what's going on the planet. There's a monumental shift of epic proportions. You know what I'm saying? And like I said in the beginning of the show, we're talking about the solar cycles now, not just the planet cycles, but the solar cycles from, you know, from our solar system, from an astrological aspect. You know what I'm saying? We're moving and we're going to, you know, the fifth. And I mean, I don't really, let me tell you, bro, I don't think there's a level to dimensions, man. Because look at Doctor Strange in the multiverse. You know what I'm saying? Like all that, everything that we've seen in all these movies, it would be hard for me to bet against any of it, like not having some sort of truth to it. You know what I mean? Like that's just how wild and crazy, you know, this planet is. Like Earth, we like the kindergartners of the solar system, man, or the universe. Like, you know, no disrespect to my fellow, you know, Earthlings, but when it comes to like the cosmic order, man, like the stuff that's going on here is like, it's not, you know, it's like baby stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, because the other planets, especially in our solar system and abroad, they're so far advanced, you know, on a lot of different levels, you know, than a lot of, you know, people on the planet Earth. But, you know, that's all because of the control factor and having, you know, like extraterrestrial evil beings from other star systems that brought their, you know what I'm saying, intelligence and knowledge and wisdom, and they pretty much used it to take control and manipulate, you know what I'm saying, and enslave the human race. Like that's really what this boils down to. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole foreign entities, you know what I'm saying, from different planets and different planetary star systems that came into this star system, to this planet, and pretty much took control of it because they were quote unquote more dominant in regards to like their power, you know, and influence. You know what I mean? So, and that goes back to, like I said, the cycles, you know, 6,000 year cycle of the Canaanite reign and rule is what contributed to, you know what I'm saying, that lunar cycle of the moon cycle, which is darkness. You know what I'm saying? So that's why that patriarchal essence was pretty much manipulating and controlling the planet, you know. But now with the transition of the cycles, we're going from the Piscean age, you know, of the lunar cycle to the Aquarian age of the, you know, of the sun cycle. So now we're coming back into the sun cycle of light, of peace, of love, of elevation, of, you know, going to the fifth dimension. And it really, I don't think there's a level to dimensions, but I mean, as far as like, I would say like an automatic, like default, I feel like right now from my research and from my studies and the teachers that I studied under, it's going to be the fifth dimension level of the experience on this planet. And that's, I'm not saying there's not like other dimensions higher than the sixth because, or the fifth, because yeah, I don't believe there's a level or a limit, you know, in regards to like dimensions, because think about it like this, the universe is infinite, you know what I'm saying? So, and if the universe is infinite and there's multiverses in the universe, so the universe is really a multiverse, Now you got a multitude of infinite multiverses. So it's like I'm not even trying to wrap my mind around all that, but just know it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. So with that, yeah, I definitely would say it is more than 6 dimensions. I think from what I've seen, I think they might say it's like 12 or 13 that I think some beings or people may be able to access depending on your level of the ability to tap into the cosmic energy and the cosmic ashe, or something like, even like talking about the Akashic records and all that. Like you're talking about like really, really high advanced elevation and frequencies, but everything is possible. I don't think anything is impossible, Brother Greg. I hope I answered your question, man. Let me see. Oh, my bad, y'all. Let me see. I think that was a tribe only. Yep, tribe only. But yeah, okay, family. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. But I definitely, oh yeah, Shakita too. Yeah, that's real. What you said about that. Let me get these last few out real quick before we get out of here, family. Oh yeah, I'm working on it in Costa. He might be watching now if he ain't sleep. Yeah, he might be watching now, man. Shout out to Baba, the Balogun Tolu. I'll let him tomorrow. See when I get him. Hopefully, if I don't get him this weekend, I'm hoping next week, depending on with his schedule. Baba be all over the world, man. So it's hard to get a hold of him. He'd be literally, I mean, for real too, all over the world. But I'm gonna definitely get him. I'm gonna track him down because we've been talking about it for a minute. So I'm looking forward to that too. Because we got a dope topic too when I do get him on here. But Shakita, yeah, breath work. Yeah, I'm gonna be sharing some of that with the presentation. A great book to get into that, especially from the comedic aspect, is there's I think it's 3 parts. Let me look real quick. It's 3-part series, and I'll be sharing some of this content too. But yeah, check out the book. It's 4 of them. No, I think it's 3. I'm not sure, but anyway, the Metu Necher. He got volume 1. I personally have volume 1, 2, and 3. I'm not sure if there's more than that, but yeah, the Metu Necher, volume 1, The Great Oracle of Tehuti and the Egyptian System of Spiritual Cultivation by Ra Nefer Amin. That book talks in depth about a lot of that, what you're talking about too. Chiquita, about how important the breath is in regards to, astral projecting and tapping into that higher level of consciousness for sure. Let me see. Yeah, that's big fox T Wriggles. Yeah, we definitely got to make that thing happen, man, for sure. So, but yeah, let me see. Okay, I appreciate you, DJ Kiko. DJ Kiko said they admitted to 11. Excuse me, I guess 11 dimensions. But like I said, think about it. Like, I always like to challenge y'all. Like think about your level of godness, man. Like, we are children of the universal prime creator. So therefore, you know what I mean? Like, we're not the creator, but we got creator aspects within us, you know what I mean? And we have the ability to tap into, certain levels of the creator's, frequency. So it's like, I feel like we can do whatever, if we, attune ourselves and set the right intentions and really believe in it and really like manifest, the ashe, that we were born and blessed with. Yeah, we can do whatever, man, for real. So, I mean, we're seeing it in real time now, like what's going on. That's all a collective elevation of consciousness, man. Like the planet herself, is definitely waking people up of all colors, races, and creeds too. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't just, I feel like especially people who live here in America that haven't traveled abroad or haven't been to other countries and other places in the world, or don't have communication to other people in other places in the world. A lot of this stuff, don't get me wrong, this stuff going on everywhere, but like it's way more murky and mucky here because we're in the belly of the beast. You know what I'm saying? Like the last of the Mohicans of that system, so it's like they're gonna do everything they can to claw and scratch and muck up and fuck up everything they can to the best of their ability before they're out of here. But it doesn't matter because they're gone anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really just a matter of the planet and our experiences kind of unfolding, day by day, step by step, tick by tick on the clock, man. But it's definitely a wrap, for a lot of stuff that we've seen and experienced on this planet for the last, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 years, a couple thousand years for that matter. But so yeah, we're gonna get deeper into it tomorrow, family, for sure, and then Saturday too. So we definitely got we got our own little triple header, going on this weekend, man. So God willing, I'll see all y'all again tomorrow. And then Saturday too, and then we're gonna bang these things up next week too, man. We got a whole lot more. Matter of fact, I got to reach out to the elders and see if I can get them back on too. So I'm definitely looking forward, to bringing this Ashe to these Ashe Streets family. And yeah, so like I said, this is just like a little sample, a little warm up, man, because we definitely got a lot more coming in store for y'all, especially with the mind's eye, and they're getting deeper into this whole metaphysics conversation. So with that, I appreciate the love, the support, man. Definitely appreciate all the new subscribers. Like I said, thanks again, family, for getting us to that 4K. I think we're knocking on 5K. So hell, let's keep that thing going, man. Let's get 10K. Let's get the double digits up in this thing soon, family. Let's make it happen. I appreciate y'all. So yeah, we definitely we're gonna make it do, baby. We're gonna make it do what it do, babe. We're gonna make it do what it do, babe. We're gonna make it do what it do. So yeah, family, I appreciate y'all, man. So yeah, this has been another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisha Bami, and I appreciate all the love, support, and we'll see y'all on the next episode, family. We are out. Odabo. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Peace.
ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sí ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and praise your